My name is Rafael and I'm a Warrior Addict brand warrior. In this short video we'll be looking at a 15-minute sequence which is a short version of the Yoga for Triathletes video, the 30-minute version. So in this video we'll cover a few different areas that are particularly helpful to bring a little space and flexibility to, particularly if you're doing multiple disciplines such as running, cycling and swimming. So we're working to the tops of the thighs, the hip flexors, and also into the shoulders and the spine, because that movement is really helpful for swimming. So to begin with, we're going to come to the hands and knees. And it will be helpful to have a foam block and a strap. If you don't have either of those, just grab a towel and you can use that instead. For now, hands come below the shoulders and knees below the hips. Spread the fingers wide and tuck the toes. Take a moment to inhale, lengthen the spine and arch the back. As you exhale, round the back, scoop the belly in. A couple more times, connecting the movement to the breath, exhaling. And inhaling, coming forwards. From here, slide your right foot back and press the heel away. Really reach from the hands all the way to the back heel, finding a long line in the body. Here we're opening through the back of the leg, the back of the knee, which can get pretty tight if you're running or cycling a lot. Spend a couple of breaths here. And then from here, turn your heel down so your foot comes flat. And take a little pivot on your knee and bring your right foot behind you slightly, lifting up into a side plank position. The arms spread wide, and we take the hips forward slightly. We're going to circle the top arm twice, sweeping forwards and up, down and back, forwards and up, down and back, opening the shoulder a little. Coming back to centre, we'll switch sides. Right toes slide back, press the heel away from you. Find that long line in the back of the leg. It's like your heel on top of the head could reach away from each other. A couple more breaths, fingers spread. And now turn the heel down, take a little pivot and lift into your side plank, arms spread wide. We're going to circle, take two big sweeps. So one shoulder is strengthening and the other opening. Coming back to centre. Bring your knees back to the middle. Touch your big toes together here and sit back into a child's pose. On your next breath in, come forwards, round the back. And as you breathe out, slowly lower yourself down to the mat. Slide your hands by your shoulders as you breathe into a cobra, lifting the chest, long neck. Next breath out, easing back into child's pose. And the hands will slide a little bit here. Inhale, ripple forwards. As you exhale, lower down the pelvis, the ribs and the chest. Hands are by your shoulders for cobra. Breathe in. Breathe out. Easing back, big toes touch, child's pose. Last time, warming up the spine and the shoulders, and beginning to open to the front of the hips. Cobra, breathe in. Come to the hands and knees, tuck your toes, downward dog, the hips come up. So in your down dog, don't worry too much about the shape just yet. Have a little wiggle about. You could tread water with the legs. Have a bit of a wiggle into shoulders as well. And then start to find a stable position. Hands are shoulder width apart. If your shoulders are tighter, turn the fingers to face the outside edges of the mat at about 45 degrees. That could give you more space. The hips lift up, and the knees can be a little bit bent at first. So we're really targeting length in the spine and a stretch in the shoulders. From here, inhale, lift the right leg up. And now as you exhale, draw the knee into the chest, drop the right foot down, place the left knee down. If you need to, use your hand to bring the foot forwards, kneeling position. From here, place the hand onto the top of the thigh and sit tall. Now could you take a slight tuck of the pelvis? So curl the tailbone under and lift up through the front of the pelvis. Sitting bones sending themselves down, the front of the hips sending them up. You'll notice this draws your lower ribs in a little bit, then you might feel the stretch deepen down the front of the left thigh. You could continue to work here, or you might begin to lift the hands up and take them into a prayer position behind the neck. If you're here, lift the elbows up and in, take 2 slow breaths. The chest is lifting, and as you exhale, bring the hands down around the foot. From here, lift your right hand up into a twist, and lift the back knee up. Arms spread wide, press your back heel away. Relax the jaw and the neck. Hand comes down, step back, plank position this time. Either lower your knees or hover down halfway. Flip your feet over for your cobra or your up dog. Lift the chest. Flip your feet over for your downward dog. Inhale, the left leg rises. Exhale loudly, stepping forward. Back knee coming down. Coming into a kneeling position, rest the hands onto the thigh. The shoulders a little wiggle, see if you could free them up. And again, sitting tall, tuck the tailbone under, lift the front of the hips, and draw your lower ribs in towards the spine. So what we're doing here is, rather than coming into a back bend, which means the stretch isn't targeting the front of your right thigh so much, we're drawing the ribs in and lifting up through the pubic bone in the front of the pelvis, and you'll feel that deepen a little bit. You could work here, or you could take the arms up, palms behind the neck, elbows up and in. Keep the breath calm and deep. Then exhale, the hands come down. Left hand lifts up into a twist. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee and lengthen the back leg. Feel the collarbones going wide, chest opening. From here, lower your hand down, step back, chaturanga, elbows close to the body, lower slowly. Flip your feet over, upward facing dog. Press the floor away and lift your chest, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up. And exhale, big step forwards, back knee down. This time, use your towel or your block to pad up the back knee. Kneeling position. Same thing, lift the front of the pelvis, lower ribs gently in. Now start to lower the hips forwards and down this time, finding a little bit more depth. Stretching out through psoas muscle all the way through the bowl of the pelvis and down onto the thigh bone. The chest lifts. And option 1, work here. Option 2, bend your back knee and catch the foot and start to bring the heel in towards the glutes. As the heel comes in, you're getting a deep quad stretch, really lengthening through the top of the thigh into the hip. If you have a lot of space, you could come onto the right elbow and lower down a little bit further, but keep the heel coming in. Another 2 deep breaths here. And slowly coming out. Tuck your back toes and slide yourself back towards the heel. Use your hands to support you as you come into a forward fold. Bring the hands inside that front leg. And think about lengthening the spine as you draw the right hip back, you could be a little higher up on the fingertips here, or maybe you're a little lower down, folding inside the leg. One more breath. Slowly come forwards. Place your hands inside of the front foot. Lengthen your spine and begin to lift the back knee up into a low lunge, getting deeper into the hips now. You could take a little wiggle forwards and back. Press your heel away. If you're quite mobile and you have more space, eventually you're down on the elbows. If you find that takes you kind of off balance and one arm is hanging, you're going to get much more benefit from keeping the hands down and lengthening the spine as the back leg lifts up. One more breath. And now take your hand back outside the foot, step back, downward facing dog. Option to take a vinyasa here. You could take chaturanga, then cobra or up dog. Calm breath, long spine. Inhale, left leg lifts. And exhale, step forwards, back knee down. Pad up the knee once more, kneeling position. Lift through the front of the pelvis, tuck the tailbone, ribs in. And we'll start to lower forwards and down a little bit. So if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know I do this little sequence quite a lot because it's so helpful. Often we don't find a deep stretch through the front of the thigh. We focus on the hamstrings a lot. And so we overlook the top of the thigh and the hip flexors. Also, yoga has a tendency to stretch out the hamstrings quite a lot, and often under preferences the top part of the leg. So here we're really working out that balance, or that imbalance rather. To take it further, you might catch the foot and bring the heel in. You might come down onto the elbow. Wherever you are, keep lifting through the front of the pelvis. So rather than collapsing into the back, keep lifting up. And actually that helps you find balance. When you're lifting up, it's easier to balance. Maybe you lower down. 2 more breaths here. And slowly release, tuck your back toes, creep back, sitting low, lengthen the spine, and feel the chest open. You could be supporting with the fingertips of the hands, or you might fall down inside the leg. Either way, think about lengthening your breath. Helping find a little space in the stretch. From here, slowly coming forwards, hands inside the front foot. Tuck your toes, lift the back knee, low lunge position. Again, you might have a little rock. And then find stability. Press the back thigh up, reach the chest forwards. You could work here if you have a lot of space, you're down on the elbows. But again, if that feels really awkward, you'll get more from the pose if you press your heel and the crown of the head away from each other. Another 2 or 3 breaths here. Take your hand outside the foot, step back, downward dog. Or you might take a vinyasa, plank, chaturanga, cobra or up dog, breathing in, and downward facing dog. From here, slowly come down. And we're going to come all the way around to sit. So again, you might have your phone block or a towel, then pop yourself up and lengthen the legs. From here, zip the legs up. And can you bend the right knee? Now, Root your left thigh down by pressing your leg down towards the mat and sit tall. So rather than collapsing and slouching back, you're sitting quite tall. That might mean the foot is a bit closer towards the ankle than the knee. From here, step your foot across the other side of the leg so it's slightly outside the knee. Option 1, use your hands to help lift you up and keep your left leg straight. If you have a bit more room, option 2, you might bring your right foot to the outside of your left hip and you start to cross your thighs so your knees almost come on top of each other. Check that your sitting bones are both still rooting down here. Sometimes it's easy to lift up and kind of kink the spine. Instead, keep both of your glutes down and breathe here. Eventually, you could inhale and lengthen and exhale and fold forwards. So whether you're in the fold or sat up somewhere, the breath is calm and deep and the spine is long. One more breath. And slowly coming out. Same thing again, left knee bends, right leg roots down towards the mat. Step your left foot across. Either work here, finding length in your spine and lift, or bring your foot outside the right hip and across the thighs. Knees eventually stack, and you might eventually fold. Breathing deeply, finding a little length and space. You're finding a stretch through the hamstring, but also the outside of the left hip. Really taking time to think about broadening through the collarbones, and relaxing the shoulders, and keeping that right leg long. One more breath, and slowly come out. Slide yourself off your block, come to lie all the way down. One last little thing here. We're going to take a bridge pose to finish. Feet a hip distance apart and close to the glutes. Root your hands down, lift your hips up, and feel the front of the body, the front of the hips begin to open. Turn your heels out slightly, so you can lift up. And really think about this more about creating space in the front of the body than it being a back bend. It's more that you can lengthen through the tops of the thighs and the hips. And exhale, come down. From here, stretch both legs long. Give the body a little bit of movement as you settle into rest, Shavasana. Slow breath in. Slow breath out. You might continue to rest here in Shavasana for 5 or 10 minutes, or you might come up. So that's a short video on yoga for triathletes. There's a lot going on in the body in those 3 different disciplines if you are a triathlete or training for a triathlon. And really it's helpful to help rebalance the body. If you like this video, you can also check out the longer video of the full Yoga for Triathletes, Yoga Flow. Thank you.